This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, here along with Matt Allen, and together we are your KTAR car guys, heard every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we are helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. So if you've got car questions, and I am sure you do, don't hesitate to call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text your questions to 411-923. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, we're going to have some car tips for you, open phones and texts, and budgeting for auto repair. And where this comes from is that in my neighborhood, I'm kind of known as the car guy. I don't know where they got that impression.
All the cars out in front in the yard up on blocks or what?
That's it. Grass growing up the window. So, you know, I fix a lot of my neighbors' cars, and I've got a gal that's 3 houses down from me, very close with her family, and her car breaks down. It's got 110,000 miles on it. It's a Tahoe. And what happens is the oil pressure light comes on. There's not enough oil pressure. So in the check engine light, so the first thing she does is she goes to Acme Auto Parts, and they do a diagnostic for her, and they sell her this little pressure sensor.
Was that a diagnostic? Well, that's okay. Never mind. I'm gonna let you tell your story. I'll keep my mouth shut over here.
Then she calls over to the dealership, and she says, "Hey, this is what's going on with my car, and I think it's got an oil pressure problem." And the people at the dealership tell her she needs a new engine. They haven't even seen the car.
Sight unseen.
Haven't even seen the car. They tell her she needs a new engine. So she comes to my counter, and she's in tears because she's been told she needs a new engine. Who has money for a new engine? I don't have that laying around. So, you know, we get her a car to drive and everything like that, and she leaves the car to check it out. And it just all it needs is an oil pressure sensor. But this oil pressure sensor is underneath the intake manifold, and there's some other little maintenances that need to happen, and it costs $800 to fix.
You imagine the agony and the stress and the anxiety that she had just to get to that point by going out and seeking maybe the answers someplace other than you, her trusted professional.
And I love her, but I was really frustrated with her because I'm like, why the heck would you go to Acme Auto Parts when you got Acme car guy in the neighborhood who knows something about cars, you know? So I was a little frustrated, but I didn't let her know that because she was obviously stressed out. And I would be too if I didn't really know my car needed an engine and everything like that. So she says, you know, so we go ahead and we fix the oil pressure thing, and she says, Dave, what am I going to do with this car? I'm nervous about it. It's a hybrid Tahoe. She said, so, you know, the batteries got replaced under warranty, you know, and I'm thinking about getting another car, and I just made my last car payment before I came to see you, and I'm afraid this car is going to, you know, but she's already spent that car payment. So in her mind, that last car payment was coming up. I'm going to have an extra $500 a month, and I can spend it on all these other things.
And like most people, she probably spent that $500 3 times over before the car was, you know, it's like the tax return. Ooh, I'm going to get a new stereo. I'm going to get this. And then there's another one. And then pretty soon you're in debt double what your check was supposed to be.
Well, here's where the problem is, okay? It's not a matter of if your car is going to break down. It's a matter of when your car is going to break down. So we talked about it. I said, you know, those hybrid batteries, they go for 10 years. You just got them replaced for free under warranty. So they're relatively fresh in the vehicle. The car overall is in pretty good shape. It needs some engine mounts. It needs some other little things. But you need to take that $500 a month instead of going out. She says, well, should I go buy another car? Well, in order to replace this car, it's going to cost me $45,000. If I go get another one, relatively new one or a new one, well, tax and tags on a new one's $4,500. But she says, well, I can plan on $500 a month better than I can plan on an unexpected expense of $1,500 to get my car fixed, or $800 or $400. They can't plan on it. So for some people, I say just go get a car with a car payment. That's fine. But in this case, this is a great car, and there's no reason she shouldn't be driving this for 5 more years. Just take that $500 that you're not putting into a car payment now and put it in the bank until there's $2,500 in there. And don't touch it for anything else. Just leave it there because you are going to need maintenance on your car. It's just how it's going to happen.
Yeah, and then after a while, then you can maybe cut that down. You make the
Yeah, so it's $500 for a while, then you cut it down to $150 or $100. You know, once you get that, because it is going to break. But what happens, and I see people stressed out, and it is stressful because they got to get the kids to school. Now all of a sudden they got to pay for a rental car, you know, because their car's in the shop. And this is an expense I was not planning for. Now I'm throwing it down on the old credit card at 22%. Does not make me feel good. I'm digging myself into this hole I can't get out of. Mm-hmm. So these cars, you want to take care of them up to 100,000 miles and know that 100,000 miles, they're going to need a few repairs. But it doesn't mean you punt the car.
Well, right. You don't go fix a $2,000 problem or a $3,000 or $4,000 problem with a $40,000 purchase.
No.
Exactly. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So budgeting for auto repair is such a key, and plan on it. People don't think, I mean, that's the last thing people budget for is auto repair, but they're always going to need brakes. They're always going to need tires. They're always going to need oil changes. But if it's getting up there in age, you're really not doing, with the modern car, you're not doing much to it other than brakes, tires, and alignments and oil changes before 80,000 miles. But once we cross that 80,000 mile threshold, we're going to start to need things like motor mounts.
And if you haven't got a plan to get it to 100,000 miles, when you get to that 100,000 miles or that 5-year point, or some people are stretching them even longer, but once you've got it paid off, if you haven't taken care of it to that point, you're going to need more than that $500 car payment saved up for a few months. So we have to remember, even if you're out buying the new car, it still needs maintenance. You've got to allocate some stuff for every year of the life of that car.
Well, and I think when you go into the dealership, and let's just say you are buying a new car, they say, what kind of payment can you afford? Which is
wrong way to buy.
Wrong way to buy. But either way, in your mind, you think, hey, I can stomach $350 a month. Well, what you have to do is maybe buy a little less car because you need to add $100 a month to take care of that car. So it should be really, if I'm getting a payment for $350, that's actually $450. Averaged out over that 100,000 miles, because there's tires and there's alignments and there's oil changes and there's all those things that happen.
And you're going to have a breakdown. You're going to have an alternator or an AC compressor is going to go out. Or there's those anomalies. Not every car is going to have a free ride all the way to the 100,000 mark.
And the other thing that happens that people get a little bit of false hope on, and this is where I do not like extended warranties. There's some good ones. There's some really bad ones also. But people buy this extended warranty, say nothing's going to happen for the next 100,000 miles. I got this coverage. Their transmission goes out at 80,000 miles. And they bring it to my shop, and we check it out, and the transmission's out. And we call their warranty company. Their warranty company says, yeah, no, we're only going to cover $1,500.
Yeah, they only cover up to the value of the policy, maximum output.
Exactly. And so the person's like, but the transmission's $3,000. They're like, you're kidding me. So I got to call them and give them the bad news that, hey, your transmission's out. It's going to cost $3,000, but that warranty they got, they're going to cover $1,500. So there was a big piece of false hope. They're like, I wasn't planning for that. I thought I had this warranty and I was covered. But I'll tell you, more times than not, Matt, I am calling a customer with a disappointing story about what their warranty is not covering. I mean, that's a whole show topic in itself. But just because you got this warranty, so back to my point is if you think you can afford $350 a month for a car payment, we'll go get a car for $250 a month and save $100 to maintain that car. That type of thing. So you need to bring down the value of the car a touch. Maybe you don't need a luxury car. Maybe just
and a couple other things. If you are buying a used car, you don't ever want to hit the top of your budget, because in a used car, I promise you, not very many people take a perfectly good used car and go sell it. Now, there are some of those.
This car's been so great, I'm going to get rid of it.
How many times do we hear in the shop is, ooh, I'll just get rid of it. So somebody else is buying that. So you've got to be aware on a used car that that's going to happen. And then the other thing I think that happens, a lot of people, as they mature and they get older and their career develops, they buy more expensive cars. And maybe not even that's a more expensive car like a luxury car, but the modern car, if you had a 15-year-old Camry and you go buy a new Camry, now you're using synthetic oil. That's a $60 oil change, not a $19.95. So you might get a little sticker shock on a few of those first services, because at times they can be more expensive. It's a different kind of technology and a new kind of car.
Mike Russell just bought an F-150, and he bought it used, and I think his budget was $10,000, and I think he spent $7,000 on the one he got. And it's at my shop, and the engine doesn't run quite right. And I said, Mike, this is probably the reason they sold the truck. We just identified the reason they sold this truck, not because there's anything majorly wrong with it, but because someone couldn't figure out why it was running the way it's running. And he said something weird like it smells like a tractor's taking a dump or something like that. Yeah. But the exhaust smells funky coming out of this engine, and it just doesn't. The engine just doesn't quite run right, and we honestly haven't figured it out yet, but we will. But back to that point. So anyhow, we've got open phones at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And today the point we wanted to make is to budget for auto repair so you're not caught off guard and you don't have that anxious moment where you're like, how am I going to pay for this and how am I going to get to work and all those things that are going to happen and get the kids to school. So if you want to talk about anything related to your car, doesn't have to be budgetary, give us a call, 602-277-5827. You listen to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and Bumper to Bumper Radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Hi, I'm Kurt Morgan, owner of Shadow Mountain Auto Service in Phoenix. I'm also a college automotive instructor, and I've been a technician for over 30 years. In that time, I've seen all kinds of games and gimmicks in the auto repair business, the worst of which seems to be associated with transmissions. I think it's because, to most, including technicians, the inside of a transmission is a mystery. So when one of our valued customers has a transmission problem, we send them straight to Tri-City Transmission. No games, no gimmicks. That's Tri-City Transmission.
Yeah, I think how do you not lose your mind when it comes to auto repair? And that's what we want to happen. We don't want it to be this intense piece of stress because we see it day in and day out at our counter. And there's actually two types of customers. There's the type of customer who is absolutely not surprised that their car broke. They planned for it. They budgeted for it. It was no big deal.
And you don't have to be wealthy or have extra money or have an upper leg to have that experience. It's planning.
It is planning, and some of those folks are not driving the newest, most modern cars. They're actually driving older cars, but they always seem to have money in their back pocket. So I listen to Dave Ramsey all the time because I think it's really great what he says about not being in debt and buying things you don't need and all that stuff. I don't necessarily know if I'm crazy about his car advice. Because once in a while, someone called me the other day and they were asking, I got this car and I got to put, $3,000 in it to fix it, and it's probably worth $2,500. What do you think? And Dave says, well, $3,500 in a truck is worth $2,000 is a bad investment. And I thought, well, Dave, you're wrong because cars are never investments.
Yeah, not very many.
I guess maybe you're Jay Leno. You're like, hey, I'm going to buy this really nice fancy car, and that's kind of an investment. But to me, it's all about cost per mile or use value. How can I drive a car for 10 cents a mile? How can I do that? What's the best way to do that over the average of the years versus, the snapshot of a moment?
Well, you've heard the phrase, the devil you know is better than the one you don't. So if you've got, and this is just made, it's real numbers off of his show, but it's just to make a point. If you've got a $2,500 car and you're an investor or you're buying and selling cars to make money, putting $3,000 into a car that's worth $2,500.
Horrible idea.
That is absolutely a bad idea. But if you've got and it depends on the value. Is it worth $2,500 broken or $2,500 working? That's another question.
Correct.
Let's just say that it is a $2,500 car, and you've got $3,000, and then you go sell that car. Now you've got $5,500 to buy a car with. But you don't have $5,500 to buy a car with. You got $4,000 because you know it needs some other repairs. So stick with the car you know because you know what's wrong with it. Maybe you've already done the brakes and you've done the tires because inevitably these cars are all, like you said, they're all going to break down at some point. There's nothing that precludes that car that you just went out and spent all your money on from having the AC compressor go out. Even if a mechanic checks it out, which, again, we always want to do, but you're going to have things that are going to go wrong. So I agree, David. It's just may not be the best advice. The best used car to buy is your used car. You already have one. Don't go out and buy a different one.
Well, that's the thing that people say. I go, okay, so we're looking at a transmission repair, and it's real expensive. And nobody wants one of those. It's kind of like selling coffins. Everybody gets one at some point, but no one wants one. I get that. So they go, well, I said, well, if you don't fix this car, because they're looking at a car that's worth $3,000 and the transmission's $3,000, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to go buy a good used car. Well, those things right there are sometimes a little bit of an oxymoron, a good used car. Like you said, who's selling a good used car? It's been a great car. I'm going to get rid of it.
Well, and some do.
It happens.
You want some new technology.
Yeah, there's a lot of great cars out there. You just want to, something new. But I guess the point is that you have a good used car. With your car with no transmission in it, it's worth $0. You can go buy a good used car right now for $3,000, and you already know this devil. You kind of know how it's been taken care of, how it's been maintained. You know that you just put new tires on it. You know that the radiator's new, and what other things are going on with it.
And we can take this out bigger too. It gets off the topic of our show, which is cars and such. But again, we're not just fixing your car. We're alleviating the stress in your life when you have problems, and we're solving so much more than just the car repair. But if you are always beholden to a car payment and to a car debt, that life cycle is hard to get out of. Mm-hmm. And just imagine if you're saving that money, and this is what Dave Ramsey should be talking about, is if you were saving that money and putting it in an IRA or somewhere where it was growing. I've seen studies over 30 years with people that bought cars every 10 years versus every 3 years, and they factored in all this stuff that we're talking about. And those people that only had three new cars over a 30-year period, and they invested that difference, it's a lot of money.
Oh,
it's a lot of money. You'll
reward more wealth.
Yeah, big time. So another way to look at how you're treating your car life.
We've got Jeff, we've got Leonard, we've got Doris, we've got Rodney, and we're going to start with Frida in Peoria. She's got a 2007, and how can we help you, Frida? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. I
have an Eos, which has a defaulty from the factory transmission. And what I need to know is it worth it? Can it be fixed so that it will work like it's supposed to work? And if not, I know if they replace it, I think that if they replace it, it's not gonna do anything but the same thing all over again. I don't know.
What do you mean it has a defective new transmission?
It has a defective transmission from the factory.
Uh-huh.
Basically, Volkswagen should have done a recall, and they haven't. When I'm driving for any length of time, what happens where the park and the reverse and the neutral and drive and stuff is there, it starts to flash. And when it starts to flash, the car stops.
Mm-hmm.
I have to pull off the side of the road.
And this is a 2007 Eos, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And what I want to know is it a fixable thing, because I really like the car.
Right. I don't know, Matt, I don't know that I've run across this before as far as this particular car. So I haven't heard enough about it to really know what the situation or the story is, but I think there's more to it. I think I would have heard a whole lot more if they just had a defective transmission didn't work.
Well, I mean, we do see Volkswagens that have some transmission problems, right, with the valve bodies, and there are some issues. I don't think, the Eos is not as popular of a car as the Jetta and such, but I'm assuming it's got a similar transmission. But Dave, this is a 2007. What is the common thing in a 2007 model year car in the German car lines? What do they always say about the transmission fluid?
Not to service them.
It's lifetime, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's lifetime. So maybe she's having one of those problems that is a result of under maintenance on the vehicle. So will it happen again? Well, perhaps it will if you go, we don't know what the mileage is in the car or anything like that, but if this transmission was serviced at 60,000 miles or 45,000 miles, against the bad advice of Volkswagen to leave it as a lifetime fluid, maybe we wouldn't be experiencing these problems. You talk about the suspended materials in the transmission fluid polishing and wearing out valve bodies and stuff, and maybe this is strictly lack of maintenance, but not on her part, based on the advice of the manufacturer.
Yeah, and I'd like to know more about it. We run into these things there's a couple of car manufacturers out there with CVTs. CVTs have become somewhat of a problem. They don't last very long. Mm-hmm. So people are buying transmissions a lot sooner than they think they should be when they buy this new car. I have a CVT right now. It's a Mitsubishi Outlander in my parking lot, and the transmission on this thing is $8,000. We can't even find a used one to buy for this lady.
Man,
she had an extended warranty, and guess what? The extended warranty is not covering all that $8,000.
I've got an Outlander as a loaner vehicle. I'm going to be checking my whole card there and see if that's got a CVT in it. That might be a good used car real soon. You know what I mean?
Well, I know that Nissan with their Altima, a lot of CVTs, they've gone through some trials and tribulations on those things, and by 120,000 miles, they're like sometimes on the third, fourth, and fifth transmission. So I'll do a little more research on that Eos transmission, but I haven't run into it as being a problem. So when we come back, we're going to get to Rodney, Doris, Leonard, and Jeff. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
In life, there are certain relationships outside of family and friends that are important. For instance, if your car breaks down, you want to have a relationship with an auto repair shop that you trust to repair your car. The same goes for your doctor, your accountant, and your attorney. Why? Because the services they provide involve health and financial decisions, and it's important to hire a trusted professional. This same principle applies to real estate. Hi, I'm Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. For most of us, our home is the largest financial commitment and asset we will own in our lifetime. So when you decide to sell, it's important to hire a professional, knowledgeable real estate agent that you can trust to represent your interests and provide the best customer service available. If you would like a consultation to help determine the value and discuss a comprehensive marketing plan to sell your home, please visit my website at lisareneehenry.com. That's Lisa Renee, R-E-N-E-E, Henry.com. Come experience the difference a great real estate agent can make.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Arizona's news station. KTAR. On air, 92.3 FM. Online at KTAR.com. And streaming live on the KTAR News app. Your breaking news and traffic. Now.
KTAR News Time, 11:30. I'm Mike Sackley. Hurricane Matthew continues to make its way up the East Coast. It's caused severe flooding in South Carolina, where strong winds have downed trees and left residents without power. Matthew officially made landfall earlier this morning northeast of Charleston, South Carolina, in the town of McClellanville. Now let's get the latest on Hurricane Matthew from ABC News.
South Carolina is taking a hard hit from Hurricane Matthew. Hundreds of roads said to be impassable from the flooding the Category 1 storm has brought after it made landfall to the north of Charleston. Governor Nikki Haley is urging people who evacuated not to try to go home today.
Most injuries, most fatalities occur after a storm because people attempt to move in too soon. Do not plan on going back home today or tomorrow.
4 other places, the cleanup's now underway.
This is Jim Ryan in Florida, where recovery from Hurricane Matthew has begun. The 6,000 people who spent last night in one of 88 shelters around the state will start to head home, according to Governor Rick Scott.
As people get their power back, we'll be able to get people back to their homes, back to their jobs, back to school.
Crews from across the South are making their way toward Jacksonville, St. Augustine, and Daytona Beach to get the lights back on. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Melbourne, Florida.
Matthew blamed for at least 6 deaths here in the U.S. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Now let's check traffic in the RMEGold.com Traffic Center. Here's Mike Daniels.
Well, thank you, Mike. We do have a couple of Service Street accidents, one at 7th Street and Baseline, the other at Lake Pleasant Parkway and 83rd Avenue. This report brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Annuities aren't right for everyone. How do you know if they're right for you? Just text the word RETIRE to 411-923 to learn more. I'm Mike Daniels, KTAR News.
Sun and clouds today, slight chance for rain later on, the high 96, low of 75 tonight, and sunny and 96 tomorrow. Right now in Peoria, 90 degrees. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. Matt and Dave, KTAR's Car Guys on Bumper to Bumper, are back with you next. I'm Mike Sackley on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Arizona, an amazing state for outdoor recreation and exploration. Full of mountains, lakes, streams, forests, and of course, our beautiful deserts. Hunting, fishing, camping. If it's about the outdoors, we've got it covered. KTAR invites you to Get Outdoors with Mike Russell, Saturdays noon till 2. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and on every device with the KTAR app.
Hi, I'm Roger Bland with the Automatic Transmission Rebuilders Association, ATRA. As a transmission industry advocate, I travel throughout North America, studying transmission shops, looking for the best of the best that our industry has to offer. Professionally, ethically run shops that are proud to display the ATRA logo. I was recently in Arizona because I had heard from more than one source that I had to check out Tri-City Transmission right here in Tempe. Folks, I've been in the transmission industry for over 25 years, and I'm here to tell you that Tri-City is the type of transmission shop we're proud to call an ATRA member. Not only does Tri-City Transmission meet the stringent code of ethics set forth for every member of the association, they also have an extraordinary approach to solving their customers' problems. You see, they don't just focus on what it is they produce, transmissions. Their true concern is about fixing your problem. And take it from me, that's a big difference.
To learn more about Tri-City Transmission, find them at tricitytransmission.com. That's tricitytransmission.com. Golf course conditions in Arizona are picturesque in the fall. With perfect temps and true parkland courses, you can't beat golfing at the Wigwam this season. And while other Valley golf clubs are closed for overseeding, Wigwam Golf boasts 3 18-hole championship courses, the Gold, Patriot, and Heritage. So there's no disruption to play. Featuring intricately designed courses by the legendary Robert Trent Jones Sr., the Wigwam offers unmatched diversity and challenge. Visit wigwamgolf.com to book a tee time today or find out more about their overseeding schedule and courses.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back. I am Matt Allen, and Dave Riccio is standing by my side, and we are always here to help you with your car. So if you have any questions for us, anything we can help you about, the way to get a hold of us is 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. And if you're the texting type, a little shy maybe, and you're not driving, you can shoot us a message at 411-923. And today we've been talking about budgeting for auto repair, whether it's your car that you've had for a long time, a new car that you just got. We got to remember to set some money aside for the day when it's paid off, and let's keep that car and keep it on the road, and that's when you're making money. You're not spending money on car payments and making the manufacturers fat, and you get to keep your car and enjoy it. And along that same tune, the holidays are upon us, so you got to remember, let's get that car in if you're taking the road trips and doing things and packing up the family. let's just make sure we're going to have a safe, successful ride. You hate to be that guy, right, Dave?
I want to go back to that last phone call on the Volkswagen Eos, and I'm thinking in my mind, I work on transmissions every day. I have not run across an inherent problem with the Volkswagen Eos. So sometimes, we did a show where we talked about some of the crazy things that people say, some of the bad advice people get in auto repair shops from somebody who maybe didn't know. And I don't know a whole lot about the Volkswagen Eos to know if there is a problem. But I don't know if maybe that person got bad advice. Maybe it's the broad brush statements that people hear all the time. Oh, the Eoses have just a defective transmission. I think if it was really defective, I think I would have heard of something by now. I mean, that thing's been out for 9-10 years. So maybe swing by a transmission shop, see if you get a different opinion on that transmission. You can find that at bumpertobumperradio.com if you're looking for a good shop. And the other thing, too, I wanted to mention here before we get to the phone calls, Bumper to Bumper Radio is a show about you, about your car. Also behind Bumper to Bumper Radio is a network of automotive shops that Matt and I endorse, places we would send you to with just a carte blanche. Go over here. These guys are great. These are shops that we trust, where the owner's there. They're not some investment for some company back east that's just trying to make money off people to get their car fixed. These are people that you're going to run into at the grocery store, at the Little League game, people that really are concerned about you and your car and fixing it right. Bumpertobumperradio.com. But we do got to get to the phone calls. Let's get to Doris in Mesa. She's got a 2005 Toyota Corolla, and maybe shaking on an 07 Ford Focus. Let's pick one of them. How can we help you, Doris?
Okay. Real quickly, let's talk about the Ford Focus because we were told that we did an oil change and an alignment, and the gentleman said we need to get a motor mount. Is that a front and back thing? The car shakes a lot and makes a lot of noise.
And Doris, does it shake when you're sitting in idle? You come up to the stoplight with your foot on the brake and you just have a vibration?
Yeah, but when you're driving, it's shaking. It has no power to the engine at this point. It runs really slow.
Okay.
Well, I'm not thinking that's a motor mount issue. Because that's not going to affect the power output of the engine, the motor mount. You very well may have a bad motor mount, and that's going to be a vibration sitting in idle, probably in drive. And if you were to put the car in neutral, maybe that vibration softens, goes away a little bit. So you could have a motor mount on that one, but I don't think that's not going to cure any problem. You may have another problem, but I think someone will be fixing the wrong symptom with a motor mount.
And I would get clear about the symptoms. Are we worried about the vibration sitting there to stop? Are we worried about is there a vibration driving down the road? And then lack of power and vibration don't necessarily go hand in hand. They're kind of different families of thought in which direction we're going. So on your Ford Focus, we just got to kind of break that down. So when you're in to see your mechanic, you be real specific about what it is you want to fix, and maybe have them go for a ride with you. That's the biggest thing. Is sometimes people fix the wrong thing. They're fixing one vibration when you're worried about some other vibration. So that's your Ford Focus. Your Toyota Corolla, real quickly.
Toyota Corolla, they did a full synthetic oil change, didn't ask them to, so now am I stuck with full synthetic oil changes going forward?
No,
I don't think so. I think in days gone by there was a more dramatic difference between conventional oil and synthetic oil, and oil has gotten so much better.
Yeah, but you're talking the 80s. That's no big deal. You're just gonna leave it in there. Find a good, you can stretch that one a little bit longer. So what I might do is find a good round number to take your odometer to, and that way you can carry on forward and say, okay, I got it to 80,000. Now I'm going to go 85, 90, 95, 100, and get off that 86,289 mile oil change, and then you're doing it at 89 and some change, and it's just real easy. Don't have to think about it. You see the odometer, and you just know.
You know what's kind of weird, because I do have OCD, so when I set the alarm clock, you push the button in, and it's going up real fast, and it goes to 6:02. I actually have to go all the way back around to get it right to 6 o'clock. As if it matters.
Or pumping gas, Are you the guy that the dilemma? It's $49.99, and you want to take it to $50, but if you go to $50, you're already on an even 19.9 gallons. So which number are you going to compromise?
Oh
My
yeah.
God, the dilemma.
The other thing that happens to me is when I'm at the crosswalk. I can't just push the button once, because I don't think it's going to really know. I don't trust those buttons. There's no feedback. I like the ones that beep back at you. But I push that thing 6 times. I think that's the magic number to get those things going.
Hey, Jeff in Mesa probably doesn't want to hear us talking about crosswalks, though. He's been on here for a little while. Jeff, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
All right. So I have a 97 Jeep Cherokee. I have a check engine light on for a high output on both of my front and rear O2 sensors, and I replaced them with the Bosch O2 sensors, same problem. So I bought factory O2 sensors, and I'm still getting the check engine light. Same problem.
Well, Bosch probably made those factory O2 sensors, just so you know that. And you made a good choice picking the Bosch O2 sensor. However, just wasn't the problem. We didn't get any diagnostics done.
And we were just having this conversation. We've got a rep from one of our vendors that was in, and we were talking about when she used to work at the Acme Auto Parts store, and she actually scanned cars. And she said, that's all we did. We was a code reader. We didn't know anything about it. But the O2 sensor code, 9 times out of 10, doesn't result in the replacement of an O2 sensor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a pretty big broad brush statement, but there's certain codes that aren't going that way.
The O2 sensor is just a little sniffer, if you will. It's a little man down there in the exhaust stream telling you what's passing by. And most of the time he's telling the truth. When he's bad, that's the bad oxygen sensor, and he's lying to the computer. The computer wants to see what's happening, what's coming out of the engine is exhaust. It's going to read the oxygen content. It's going to tell the fuel content if it's rich or lean. It's going to pass through the catalytic converter. Then there's another oxygen sensor. And what that one's doing, he's talking to the guy up front, upstream, saying, yeah, the catalytic converter worked. You told me X, Y, and Z were coming through, but only X came out, and that's perfect. That's what's supposed to happen. So we've got to get upstream and find out, is that oxygen sensor truly telling us what's happening in the exhaust? And if it's high output, I'm thinking that's a rich condition. So maybe we have too much fuel being delivered. And, so you could be looking at, a MAP sensor, which is a manifold absolute pressure is what that means. There could be a number of different things. We need to find out the flow chart of the oxygen sensor code and see where that takes us. There's a series of tests. You can do that at home if you've got a good digital voltmeter and you have some knowledge and a wiring diagram and some stuff to go through.
And the reason I wanted to make a point, because when you do go to the auto parts store and they plug into it, they're going to sell you what they have on the shelf, which is an O2 sensor. That's what they sell, is O2 sensors. But my point is that O2 sensor code comes up a lot in cars, and it's not always an O2 sensor, and most of the time it's not. Yeah, if it's a lean code, maybe we get a vacuum leak, and we're throwing O2 sensors in it, and that's fine, and I guess maybe you needed them, but probably not. So that's where you got to be careful, and that's where the diagnostic or the code reading is somewhat. It's just a starting piece. For us, yeah, we read for codes, but we look at data, and there's a lot of other things that goes on in that diagnostic process. Even when you walk by a car, Matt, you can walk by a car and you're like, man, that thing's running rich. You just know that you know the smell of things where the average everyday consumer may not pick up on those subtle details that point us in the direction of what needs to happen. So thanks so much for the call. We are going to go with tough choice here. Leonard, Toyota 98 T100 pickup. How can we help you, Leonard? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, I got 2 for you. The first one you see at the stores where all the people go freak out on the hand wipes on the shopping carts. Why not hand wipes at the gas pumps?
Yeah, a little fresh scent, That's we need to put that in the suggestion box at QT, I think.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll take half a slice of free pizza.
Right, huh? I think some even, because I have a diesel vehicle, and I carry some latex gloves in the car sometimes because the diesel pumps are always a little sloppy. But I've seen some stations actually have some gloves up by the pumps to keep your hands
since
clean.
we're talking about crosswalks, why not put wipes by the crosswalk where you push the buttons?
Oh God. Hey, that's next. There'll be some committee that's got to get together and talk about that. And
I think Leonard might have another question there, Matt.
Should we put him back?
Put him back on.
Hold on, Leonard. We're going to bring you back in here. Hold on. Here we go.
Okay.
There you are, Leonard. Again.
Okay, hi guys. Hey, my son's battery went dead. He ran down, bought a battery for it, put it in. Now his alternator went dead. Is that something he did, or is it just luck of the draw, or?
No, the alternator was bad first. He just put the battery in before that, maybe. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Dave, they can't hear you nodding your head.
No, I'm doing that for your benefit, Matt, so you know that you're right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just agreeing with you.
Okay. All right. Perfect. No, he probably didn't do it.
No, that's true. I mean, people see the battery light in their car come on, and the first thing they do is, go get a battery. The battery light comes on when the alternator's not working. That's when the battery light comes on.
Yeah. Hey, I want to go back to the Bosch oxygen sensor phone call. I got a statistic for you. 40 years ago, July 7th, Bosch invented the first oxygen sensor. How many do you think have been sold since 1976?
A gazillion.
1 billion.
Wow. The little messenger, first name O, last name 2, sensor.
Yep. It made production of its 1 billionth oxygen sensor in 40 years. How many of those got sold at Acme Auto Parts that they didn't need, I wonder, right?
Bosch likes Acme Auto Parts.
That's right.
Anyhow, when we come back, we got time for another couple calls, 602-277-5827. You listen to Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus that carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
I'm staying off of that highway, you know what I mean, Dave? 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR. And you know what the highway to hell is? That's the one that you're broken down on when you're on the road trip. And the hell you're going to be living from your spouse, partner, significant other, kids, whatever. That is the true highway to hell.
I can't. My wife and I, when we ran out of gas driving to San Diego, that was the most miserable 3 hours of my life. Not only that, it was the tow truck, that took us to the next town. It was miserable. I won't mention the name of that tow company. Let's go with Skip and Chandler. He's got an 04 Ford Explorer, and then after that, we've got Dave. How can we help you, Skip? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Fantastic.
So I tried to do the husbandly thing. The wife's compressor, air conditioning compressor, went out on their 2004 Explorer. So I replaced the compressor, recharged the system, got cold air, everything works. Except one day, about a week later, she said, my little button on the dash where it gives extra volume to the air, like max air button, doesn't work. Well, so I checked her car, and 1 through 4, lower motor speeds, works great. But it's that second auxiliary button where it says max air or super max air, that doesn't work. Well, one of my buddies told me it's because I didn't disconnect the battery cable when I installed the compressor with the quick clips, and I could have blown that out. What's your suggestion?
Now, let's back up a little bit here. Let's talk about what the function of those buttons are. You've got the.
I think they should rename that turbo.
Well,
why make it max? Name that button turbo AC.
Well, but it really doesn't have anything to do with the volume of air. It's recirculate or max. It's the recirculation of the air inside the car versus drawing it from outside of the car. Now you will pick up a temperature speed just because of the pressure change in the car, but the fan motor isn't getting any more amperage or more voltage or anything to make it rotate any faster. That just has to do with where the air is coming from or being circulated from. Now, back to why it doesn't work. It's highly unlikely on the 2004 Ford. I'm thinking of the GM cars where if they're not sit at home or they're not turned off, sometimes you can disconnect a battery. We change a battery in a car, or a car has a dead battery and gets a jump start, and weird things happen. Windows don't roll up, ACs don't go back to home, if you will, whether it's the blend door for where the air is going to blow or what the temperature is going to be on that blend door. But I'm not 100% familiar off the top of my head with the Explorer.
Yeah, whether it's related or not, we just need to figure out what's going on, why it's not working, and that'll tell us if it is related or not to the prior repair. But I doubt those are on the same circuit.
Yeah, and don't get confused with the light not working to the functionality not working. That little LED light or lamp in that button could have burned out, but it's actually still doing something when you push the button.
Yeah, there's a volume change. It's like in my car. When it's on recirculation, the car's nice and quiet. As soon as I turn it on fresh air, I get a little whistle from the window because I'm creating pressure in the truck, and so it's escaping through those small cracks, and it's making a whistling noise. So that's all that's really going on. So anyway, thanks for the call, Skip. We're going to go with Dave. He's got a 2005 F-250 diesel four-wheel drive, concerned about the transmission. What can we help you with, Dave?
I'm 71 years old, and I bought the truck new. I've only got 17,800 miles on it, but I'm hoping it lasts me the rest of my life or until they take my driver's license away.
You want my phone number to call me when it's for sale?
Yeah, it's going to be a very low mileage truck, that's for sure. I understand that the fuel injectors can be a problem on that truck, on the engine, and the EGR cooler. I will have to probably one of these days approach that, but I'm concerned because transmissions are expensive to repair, and I'm concerned, is it a good transmission?
Oh yeah, it's a good transmission in there. We don't see an overlot of it's a 5R110 is the model of transmissions that's in the vehicle. We don't see an overlot of problems with this, it's rare, and as much as you don't drive the truck, I don't think you're ever going to come across a problem with that transmission.
And Dave, on another note, to help you really make the thing last a long time, as long as you want to be driving it and not having any issues, how have you arrived at those 17,000 miles? Are you towing a trailer and are you using a long distance, or you just get in and fire it up and run up the road and go to church and the grocery store and run some errands, or how are those miles getting on there?
Well, I make sure that I'm driving it at least 20 miles and getting the oil up to temperature when I do drive it. And if I've had my foot in it, I let it idle for the turbo to slow down before I turn it off. I do the oil changes, at 5,000 miles because I'm always on pavement. I've never towed anything with the truck, and I don't go four-wheeling with it. Only time it goes in four-wheel drive is when we have snow up here. Mm-hmm. And I've heard that Royal Purple is a better diesel oil than Ford's diesel oil. Is that true?
I don't have any specifications to support that. I have a 2005 Excursion, so it's got the same 6-liter engine in it, and I do use Royal Purple. But I'm not saying it's better than the Ford oil. I just, for whatever reason, I read something about it. It seems to be good oil, and they support racing, and I like racing, so I'm going to support them.
Me too. I used to use Valvoline in my 427 Cyclone. I've heard the Royal Purple is super, super excellent, and I want the truck to last. I really enjoy it. I know the cab is super strong, and I know the suspension is super strong, but I knew nothing about the transmission. And this is my third Ford diesel. I had a 93 naturally aspirated 7.3, and we let somebody use the truck to move. And when we got it back, the transmission was shot. And then I bought a 2008 with the turbo, and it got stolen.
Yeah, it sounds
Never
like
saw it again.
it sounds like you know how to pick your trucks. I'd like to see Dave in his later years there ripping around in a Cyclone. You know, that's pretty cool to have the hot rods and those hot cars. But he knows his vehicle, though. The things that I was going to suggest, he's already doing.
He's already on top of it. You know what's amazing, though? These cars that we drive, I mean, when we jump in cars, Matt, we got older cars that we drive at our shops. Customers come in and repair them. But you jump in a car that was 20 years ago. He talked about the 93 Ford that he had. That is a completely different truck, and you're just amazed by the difference in all the technology and just how well these things work.
I bet, though, Dave, listening to our show today, he comes from a completely different generation, obviously. Nothing's disposable. You take care of the cars. And I bet each and every one of those cars that he had was well taken care of. He knows the value of the dollar. He knows that taking care of that car is going to reward him later in life when with the money, with the finance, with having a good, reliable vehicle.
Kerry was talking about before the show, the guy at his gym has got a Caravan with like 325,000 miles on it. It was one of the early Caravans from the 80s. Unbelievable. You can make a car go a long time. These modern cars are built very well. Anyway, glad you can join us. And remember, if you're looking for a shop, bumpertobumperradio.com.